of those back and forth. But well, we keep our fingers crossed. They say when we get to see things like this, it is because our democracy is evolving. Well, as we count down to the swearing in on the 29th of May, that means we also need to look at the scorecard of the outgoing administration from 2015 to 2019, from 2019 to 2023. That's 8 years of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari after he won the election in 2015. Well, that was not the first time he was contesting. After going for three times, and eventually won the election after winning the primaries on the ticket of the APC after the merger of a faction of PDP, the CPC, that's the party that President Muhammadu Buhari was contesting with before, the then ACN, the party that the national leader was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president-elect. I mean, the merger came in 2014, and in 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari flew the ticket of the party, and he defeated the ruling PDP that had been, in power for 16 years. That's from 1999 till 2015. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving office. What that means is that some promises were made prior to the 2015 election. Some promises were made in, 2019 or 2018, where I think in November, November 18, 2018 was when President Muhammadu Buhari declared his intention to run for a second time in office. And one of the things he said was that he had used these last 4 years to set the foundation for better jobs that he's going to do from 2019 till 2023. Okay, that's where we are going to be focusing on today. I have Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi with me in the studio live. It's been a while we had him. He's been joining us via phone. He's the head of political desk for Guardian newspaper, very resourceful, and you understand where Thursday comes in because it's a special edition of the program. We call it the Town Hall edition, where we get to set agenda. But today on the show, we decided to have a scorecard, a review of the last 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. We put it side by side the promises that the party made prior to the 2015 election. We also put it with the same promises that were made in 2019, where the president decided to recontest. We look at agriculture, we look at economic diversification, fixing the economy, we look at the GDP, we look at all of these things. But to start with, let me bring in my guest. Mr. Muyiwa, good evening. Good to have you join us on the show today.
Good evening, listeners.
So let's get straight up into it. In about 11 days' time, we're going to be having the swearing of a new president. It means a new era, a new order, even though he's still on the same political party. Even though the president-elect is not new to the political space. Of course, he's not held any political office since 2007, where he finished tenure after 2 terms as the governor of Lagos State from 1999 till 2007. But then, it's been a big journey since we started off all of these political campaigns, the build up to the election, after the election, all of the controversies that are, pop up after the election. What are Nigerians expecting as we step into a new political dispensation from November, as from May 29, 2023? What are Nigerians expecting? What do you think is going to be at the forefront for the demands of Nigerians? Talk to us, especially when you look at the economy, look at the challenges that we have as a people right now.
Well, I think from May 29, let me say this. Most Nigerians are still they are very skeptical about the government. There is a lot of mistrust. That Nigerians have welcomed new administration with enthusiasm, with hopes, but unfortunately, I think we haven't got a government that met, let's say, average or 50% of the aspirations of Nigerians. So that's why I'm saying that there are kind of a, let's say, mixed feelings about what Tinubu will do or can do for them, right? No, there's nobody that's dancing to the streets. You could remember in the olden days when military took over. Then after you see people trooping to the streets, drinking all the beers available in the country, because of the hope that, oh, this one has gone, the new one is coming, only to know that it was a case of jumping from
fire pan to fire.
Right. But I think Nigerians have learned, because if you look at the expectation, I think when Jonathan came in, that was, this is the first graduate we're having coming from Niger Delta in nowhere, Chu Pinches, coming from that section of the country where they have cried marginalization, they've cried all sorts of things, and a graduate coming is the first, a kind of a typical civilian person who will have not from having military background, right? But what happened at the end of the day, right? So even when some people say never to military man coming to governance, but Jonathan's performance, that not satisfactory to the Nigerians, allowed the Nigerians at least to welcome somebody of military background to come in again, right? Which is
President
Muhammadu Buhari. But when President Muhammadu Buhari came, the expectations were high. Nigerians thought we've reached El Dorado. We are the lane, a fast lane to El Dorado. But lo and behold, what happened 8 years after? So if you were to look at all the indices of development, I've not seen anywhere you can conveniently at least score this government, I think, a pass mark. Not to me. If you just look at the federal government agency, National Bureau of Statistics, if you have to look at all their rates, all the indices in economy, in inflation, in GDP, in all facets of human endeavor, I've not seen anywhere where they scored this administration 50 or 60%. If you look at the inflation rate, what we're talking about, we are not talking of a government now that in the last 8 years, it has borrowed about 33 or 39 trillion naira. That's borrowed external debt. So we are not talking of internal debt. We are not talking of a government that's living each Nigerian now, I think, to each Nigerian, whether you are a year-old boy, a girl, owing
over 300,000 naira,
366,000 naira each of us. You understand? And unfortunately, Obasanjo got debt relief. Not only getting debt relief, those were refunded. You understand? They were refunded. And if you look at what Obasanjo government, what he borrowed, down to Yaradua, down to Jonathan combined were simply a child play to what Buhari, I think, has borrowed in the last 8 years. And we have been saying it here, I've said it severally here, that if you look at Buhari's administration, when it comes to economy, managing economy, I don't know how anybody can score him, I think 30%. Because compared to even Jonathan or Obasanjo era, because you look at the caliber of people that Buhari put to manage the economy, you see that practically they are misfits. Sorry to say, these are fine gentlemen, but they were not people you didn't have the right people in the right place. So when you're starting your administration, putting somebody like Udo Doma, a lawyer, right, at least to be in charge of a national planning budget, so you're asking the vice president there then to head the economic team. These are lawyers, right? When we have economists, when we have accountants, we have development experts are banned in the country. So you are putting lawyers, they are fine lawyers, no doubt about that. But I think where they can serve better. So we have what they call, I think, a kind of a type 1 error in recruitment. So it's with it and it's ending with it. So it's a big problem for us. And the ones who are committing type 1 error in recruitment, there's no way you get it right. For instance, now, let me put it to you. For some people arguing today, like sports minister, Dari, what does Dari know about sports? He had never been a sports enthusiast, right? He was not a sportsman. that we brought somebody, a journalist,
journalist,
even not a sports writer, right? And to go and manage sports, So the language they were speaking there was so strange to him. It was in our presence here that Arabishola said, told the whole world that he knew not when he was posted to Minister of Interior, he knew nothing about that ministry. He said it. So you are taking somebody to a strange land. So for them to learn the language, to learn what they are doing, is taking time, it's taking years. And how do we expect those people to perform optimally? So that's why that we are talking about the economy. We did not have enough experts to really manage the economy, right? And the people that their pedigree at least cannot manage the kind of economy we are talking Nigeria. And that's why this particular government has been on borrowing. So our Nigeria, nothing to write home about because we did not have ability to bake any cake. During the Jonathan era, you may not agree, Obasanjo, that government were able to build and to bake a very big cake for the country. Unfortunately, people like designers to go and buy bra of 50 or 300 million naira, whatever. Don't understand. They stole it, but they were able to bake.
There was something to steal.
Yes, they baked that big cake for the country, right? So that's not, but they stole. But this particular government, they were not baking any cake at all for the country. So we are only borrowing. Understand? We are borrowing cakes, right? And people are still stealing those cakes. So that's the strategy of this government. That's why we go and borrow it to that level. How we explain that within a couple of 8 years we are borrowing? We are talking of external debts. We are not talking money owing local contractors, right? So if we are borrowing as much as a 36 trillion naira within the space of 8 years, so how do we now raise such government to have done well in the economy? And then if we're talking of, I think you said about his manifesto, well, we can put Buhari down to three things. Because when he was campaigning, it normally take him 2-3 minutes to speak, no matter what. He will speak about corruption, he will speak about insecurity,
and about the economy.
Infrastructure. So it's part of it is the economy. You understand? And we have to look at one, first and foremost, about insecurity. So your guess is as good as mine if he has really achieved what he promised. I think 1 or 2 local governments in Northeast
are still under the control.
That's under control of the Boko Haram. Now, as we're talking about, many people cannot sleep and close their eyes in Zafara. As we're talking about now, so many people cannot close their ears, close their eyes and sleep properly. With the Katsina,
the home state of Mr. President.
Yes,
in fact, in the last 48 hours, there's been report of over 60 people killed in Plateau State.
So in Kaduna, in everywhere. So we now begin to wonder if you are coming as a general. We thought, I think that's your area. You should be able to give us that security. So, but in that security, I think anybody we can easily score him with all what we have seen.
Mr. Muyiwa, let me hold your thoughts. You are still going to stick in the line of that security. Now, in 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari then was campaigning, he talked about anti-corruption, he talked about insecurity, he talked about infrastructure, fixing the economy. On the issue of insecurity, there was a particular incident that happened while Mr. President was in Katsina State.
Yes.
The boys that were kidnapped in their school, over 300 of them.
Yes.
How much of a bluff do you think that moment was? The fact that the president was at home that weekend and over 300 boys were kidnapped from those boys' high school in Dapchi or thereabout. How much of a defining moment do you think that was in this administration?
You know, I think yes. I think it just speak to what we are talking about, right? To confirm that this man, you only promised to fight insecurity, but you don't have what it takes. So if you're present in your own state, as such will happen. And not only that, did you remember that even this advanced team
was attacked?
I think it was attacked. It was also, if your advanced team was attacked, that they had to engage those people in a serious gun duel to escape. Do you understand? Because they didn't show you most of the vehicles in the advanced team were damaged, right? If not because they are bulletproof, right? So had he was in that vehicle, what would have happened? So, but the point, if he could not travel from Kaduna to Katsina, he dare not do that again. He dare not do that. Even from Abuja to Katsina, he dare not do that because of the insecurity. So, with the insecurity, despite the fact that they pump so much money into fighting security, they had the leverage of buying to Kano, at least to fight them, to go and hold these people out and fight them. But what we are saying is that the man does not have the political will, at least to walk the talk, and that is the truth. Some of the soldiers fighting this, their morals were down because we are not getting the right signal from their appropriate quarter. So, but when it comes to security, well, as I said, I think everybody, all Nigerians can know that at least Buhari did not score up to 40%. So I think there's no doubting that fact. Some of these girls kidnapped were still there, even in his hometown in Kaduna. Some of these people were still, I think they are with
the abductors.
The abductors.
Now, one of the bandits, leaders of the bandits, that were arrested after the kidnapped boys, the 340 boys in Kankara were kidnapped, said they kidnapped the boys because the governor actually dared them. I mean, that's bluff calling. It's crazy. Now, let's keep that to one side. I like the transition of this conversation. We started off from the expectations for the new administration, and then we've gone into the crux of the conversation today. We started off with security or insecurity as it is now. In 2019, when President Muhammadu Buhari declares his intention to run for second time, one of the things he said was that he has done the fundamental work, does the foundational work rather, and he has promised to take Nigerians to the next level. And under that next level, he talked about job creation. We're going to take this one after the other. Job creation, infrastructures, providing a business and entrepreneurship development avenue so that people can thrive, small businesses can grow. He talked about human capital development in area of health, education. He talked about political inclusion. He talked about insecurity. Now, let's take this one after the other. Job creation in this country. Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, you worked with a lot of data and statistics. In terms of job creation, one of the things that the president had boast of is that they want to elevate 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Where exactly are we right now, 8 years down the line?
I think if we are talking of first and foremost the job creation of people, taking people out of poverty. So we all know that all those things are political talks. If I think that's the summary of it for the 8 years, because I think the unemployment rate, I think so. Even I'm not talking about, I'm not talking politically here. If you have to go and Google, I think the verdict by the National Bureau of Statistics. So we'll tell you that I think we are going upward. I think yes, I think it's increasing by the day. So tell me, how many companies employ nowadays, right? The expectation of a country like this is for the small scale industry to absorb a lot of.
Let me quickly put this in.
Yes.
The Bureau of MBS has said that as it is now in 2023, the unemployment rate in Nigeria had gone up to 41%.
41%.
It was on 19% when the president came in 2015. Now it has gone up to 41%.
Yes. No, what we all know that I think they are speaking that they're speaking. These are obvious facts that we all know. As I was saying, do you understand how many ministries have employed in the last 4 or 8 years? Do you understand how many prostators, how many MDAs have employed people? Do you understand how many companies have had enough profit to increase their workforce? How many companies have opened new branches, new offices, have expanded their operation, at least to consume to at least
accommodate
more people, right? And as I was saying again that a country like this, even if the government is not employing, you understand, government should provide a conducive environment for small scale businesses to thrive. Now, we're talking about small scale businesses in Nigeria. Are they thriving? Do they have the environment for them to do business and make profit? Once and foremost, because all these they are growing. People managing private businesses are growing. They are really growing because if you see what they consume to buy diesel, if you see what they consume, they spend, and it's on power generation alone, it makes their product unattractive and unable to compete with the imported ones. So, and the more they were unable to compete with others around the globe, they will continue at least to run at almost at the margin without any serious profit. And once you don't have profit, how will you increase? How many companies are, go and look at all the textile companies.
They folded
up. And how many of them can we say, okay, in 8 years, Buhari has been able to bring back to come and to start producing. So we wear clothes every day. We import all those nonsense. Do you understand? But I think the people will tell you that the textile industry alone has capacity of employing more than 50 millions in Kaduna, in Lagos, in Jos. Do you understand? Go to Igamu, go to Fatayatere, go to Ikeja, go to everywhere we have this textile in the old days, passing through as Swane 5-star
was
on
a lot
Tuesday.
of work.
You cannot, because we have all these factories bringing out their clothing supplies out for people to all over the country, West Africa, to come and buy. Go there now on Tuesday. You can drive at 100 kilometers per hour without matching your brake, because no business. So it's this we see every day. So if for 8 years you met all these companies in a comatose position and you are leaving them as such, then what have you achieved? Right? If in the 8 years you met Nigeria groaning of not having 24-hour power supply, what Benin Republic, what Ghana, smaller countries around us, I think are forgotten as it's still a big issue to us in the country. There was a time we were talking about 7,000 megawatts. Now they are talking 3,400 megawatts. They are saying they can have the capacity to generate 12,000 megawatts, but they cannot link them to national grid. Then who cares if you are increasing your generation?
But you are not increasing
and you are not improving
distribution.
The distribution network. You know, I think I know the experts are there. If they are really experts, so you stop this thing. So you met all these things in this position, right? And it's getting worse by the day. I know, but before it came, I think we are talking of a stable of close to 4,000, 5,000 megawatts, right?
There was a time we dropped below 600 when the national grid collapsed.
On Monday, I think especially on Monday, we had 99 grid collapse under its regime.
99 times.
99 times on Monday. National grid collapse of national grid. So if within 8 years, national grid collapsed 99 times. My brother, are we talking of rocket science here? Are we talking of something that cannot be fixed? But people will tell you that whoever is a minister and is in charge of power should be able to score himself slightly low, if not the worst ever in the history of this country.
Okay, now we've talked about job creation. We've touched infrastructure a little bit, but then in one of the things that a lot of people have also said was prior to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, there were some things that were happening in the last administration. The issue of insecurity, fuel subsidy, the economy was in a bad place. There's unemployment, the naira to dollar ratio, and all of that. And these were the things that the president promised to fix in his tenure. But things have gotten really worse right now. Now, let's put this to the incoming administration. Some of these words have been said in the campaign as well. The president-elect, while he was campaigning, said he's going to remove subsidy. Don't forget that this administration also said subsidy was a scam when they were playing the opposition prior to 2015. The incoming administration has brought up the Renew Hope ideology, talking about revamping the economy, fixing education. How much do you think Nigerians are ready to endure more? I don't want to use the wrong word now. In terms of setting the agenda for the incoming administration, we've heard all of these political statements from this outgoing administration. This incoming administration have made some really big statements also. Do you think Nigerians can connect or trust this new administration that is coming up on board as regards fixing the electoral promises?
I think I think it's difficult for me to. Let me just put it straight here. Tinubu is coming to meet, I think, let's say, a very difficult situation.
But he knew about that.
So, and he should be prepared for it. Because initially I said there were a lot of mistrust So Nigerians don't trust government again. And whether we like it or not, we are going to face a serious hard times starting from this year. Right? Buhari could not dare do what he promised. And where the problem is starting is that any moment from now, the issue of subsidy, at least will come. And Buhari will be in Lagos on 22 or thereabouts
to commission Dangote
refinery. And when people are talking of all this, Atiku himself said he was going to remove the subsidy. Peter Obi said they were going to remove the subsidy. Tinubu also said he was going to remove subsidy. Because, and we said at this studio, they are always speaking to the reality on ground. They are not saying anything new. Because the condition for that refinery to all come up to operate is to operate on a free market, right? Most banks that granted loan for this multi-billion-dollar project is that they cannot operate on the regulated economy. So it must be under supply, demand and supply, right? So that they know that all the banks, I'm telling you, if Dangote sneeze now, many bank MZ are already catching cold because they've sunk all their whatever because all the foreign banks refuse to grant loan directly for this project because of this the economy still being regulated. I said it here that as far back as 10 years ago, I know of about 10 petroleum companies that have granted license to refine to build refinery. But they could imagine that if a government cannot just say no matter what you have to sell it at 5,000, all right, no, or 2,000. So it has to be according to the production cost will determine the price, right? So now Dangote is coming upstream, coming to into the market, and when it comes to the market, nobody can control. So I'm saying that what you are buying petrol in Lagos will not be the same, might not be the same price. You
buy it in Ibadan.
You understand? What you buy it in Apapa might not be the same. You buy it in Abulegba might not be, right? Talk less of taking it to Kano or where I don't know how the means of transportation of that will be, right? But the point we are making is that the effect of this is that the prices of everything in the country will soar, from food to house rent to transportation to cost of even dowry. They will review the prices of dowry. So that's
people are in trouble.
So that's what Tinubu is coming to face immediately now. And how would Nigeria just the petrol during Buhari we are buying petrol at the 200 or 190 whatever, and that's going to 500 naira. Right, and go to 400 naira. And remember, the cost of international crude oil will now begin to determine what you are going to, how much you are going to buy in it. So we are facing another era economically. Government will be able to save more money, right? Because so much money being spent
importing
and to pay all these dubious whatever, sorry in quotes, right, will be off it, right? So government will be making more money because the money for importing for exporting crude oil we will now be having money within in the national coffer, right? But Nigerians right will begin to feel the heat of it. Imagine so if everything go almost 200% up, do you understand? Then what will happen to the salary? People want a salary, do you understand? Now a loaf of bread that's supposed to be kind of used to buy at 200 before, then as 100 before, has come to 500 naira. So how much will it be? And almost everything will go. So Tinubu is coming to face that challenge, and Nigerians, because it will bite harder. At least Nigeria, a common man on the street in the village will feel it. Do you understand? So they are not going to laugh with him. They are not going to laugh with him. But that's why I think all the things that are supposed to be done, infrastructure that supposed to have been developed, at least to meet this challenge, we did not do it. Like the railway system, was still paying lip service to it. It has not been working to capacity that Nigerians want, like electricity. How will you explain that in Nigeria here, somebody selling bread at Maryland Junction, at Ikun Junction, how to buy petrol every day to display his ordinary groceries. How do you explain that one? How do you explain that most homes in Nigeria go to Ebulegba, come to Igando by 5 o'clock in the evening?
Generator sounds everywhere.
You see people bringing 5-liter cake, and it's competing with motorists to buy petroleum almost every day. Do you understand? Is that normal? What should concern somebody who does not have a car with buying petroleum? What should concern somebody who's not operating a factory to be buying diesel? Right, but these are the state where these are the level we find ourselves. And Tinubu, certainly Nigerians will not laugh with him. He has to buckle up. The matter goes beyond rhetorics. So Nigerians will not go take promises because they will feel these things on their table. And once they are feeling on the table, they are feeling their pockets. At least there will be resistance. So the issue of promises or not fulfilling. Nobody wants to hear promises again. They have made all the promises in this world. Do you understand? We follow Buhari, we trusted Buhari. Let me tell you something. Nigerians trusted Buhari more than Tinubu. When it comes to personality, when it comes to, I think it's somebody that has that fatherly figure that you can say, well, if he talks, let's listen to him. Nigerians initially had that horror than Tinubu. So if Buhari with such aura that many that fatherly
still didn't live up to that expectation,
then what happens to Buhari and Tinubu, known as the Lagos boy?
City boy.
Sorry.
Well, it's been a very interesting conversation today. I'm always looking forward to Thursdays generally because it gives us the opportunity to open up the conversation a little bit in respect to, setting the agenda for the incoming administration. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM, and this is the Situation Room. We come up on the airwaves every Mondays to Fridays from 4 to 5 p.m. And I have with me in the studio today the group head for the political desk for Guardian newspaper, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi. And we've been able to look at two major things. First off, the outgoing administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. We've opened the scorecard. Maybe we'll extend this a little to next week, Thursday. It's going to be the last segment of the program before the inauguration that will come up the following Monday. So we'll still have maybe one more episode, to discuss some of these things. We've looked at how President Muhammadu Buhari had fared in the area of job creation, infrastructure, human capacity, health, education, insecurity, force subsidy, economy, unemployment. We looked at some of these President Muhammadu Buhari made leading to the 2015 election. Has he been able to fulfill some of these promises? We've also looked at setting the expectations for the incoming administration, and he made a very emphatic statement that Nigerians trusted President Muhammadu Buhari more than they trust President-elect Tinubu now. And despite that trust, well, the option is for you to decipher if really the trust has been justified or is been disappointing. Well, I would open the conversation by the turn of 4:40. But let me bring you up on this issue again. Mr. Muyiwa, this is about the incoming 10th Assembly. We've had this conversation via phone when he joined us last week. But it looks like it's not getting off anytime soon, especially with the controversial zoning that the ruling APC made, where they microzone the Senate presidency to the south-south, the speaker to the northwest, the speaker to the northwest, the deputy Senate president also the same region, and the deputy speaker going to the southeast. But there's been a lot of reaction and response to that. Now the G7, which comprises of 7 speakership aspirants on the platform of the same APC, kicking against the zoning. Now, the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, is also into the mix. He's a returning senator on the platform of the APC, and he says the zoning is a violation of his rights to contest for the speaker. The former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzokali, is also saying the Southeast needs to have a face at the leadership table. What exactly is going on within the APC? Is this another pitfall that could be avoided, or you think this is 2015 playing all over again? We have this conversation very quickly because the phone lines are buzzing.
You know what? I think when politicians are making us these theories or coming out with calculation kind of thing, it's only the Nigerian public at times that we try to take them extremely serious. I mean it. I think Yeri is from a northwest.
It's from Zamfara State.
Zamfara State specifically. And even his calculation was saying that it would be wrong for the head of executive to be south, and the head of the executive legislature to be south, and the CJ of the country is presently a south. So he really expounded that, and they blew it up. But the point anybody will make, hey, he has a right to at least so draw our attention to that. But is that the first time we're having such in the country? I think when Buhari was the president, Saraki was the Senate president, for instance, he started from the south to say it, you understand? Then later now to Lawan, right? So it's Lawan from the south, you understand? So the devil fall. The former CGN that quickly stepped out when it was about to be probed. You know, this Islamic scholar turned the CGN later in Nigeria, right? I think he served about 6 years under Buhari. Is it from Ogun or from Oyo? Do you understand? Was it not from the north? So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that is what Yari is saying. I don't understand. It's not saying anything new. You understand? It's part of those things we have lived with in this country. And if you are not telling now, let's now recalculate now that okay, if you this like government, if you have an executive from the south, then the head of the legislature must come from the north. You understand? Head of the judiciary. I think if you want to extend argument, it's good to converse it. But what I'm saying that it's not saying anything at least specifically new as to our political arrangement here. But the truth again is that APC has not done it right. The way they were going. Even if you want to do zoning, you must consult with the stakeholders. But for 4, 5 people, 6 people, those who go and sit down and begin to say, who get this zone gets, not that this zone's what, tagging name to hit that okay, south. If you are saying south, we are zoning the what call it the Senate presidency to your zone. You understand? Let all the people from that zone go and contest. Right? We are putting this on this, we are putting this on that. But you are saying this, even putting name, so that no option for people, other people coming from that area. Good. I think that's very bad. And people, I like the way those people are going to challenge that one. But let me tell you something. When politicians challenge those things, don't be surprised in the next 23 or 5 hours, you see them making a U-turn, because once they are promised juicy committee, the story will change. So don't understand, but don't take them that extremely serious. That's the point I'm trying to do. But the issue of searches should be looked into. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the issue of, and again, they have two issues that we have to critically look into. Why must you give Northwest 2 slots in this critical period? It's bad. No, that is the truth.
So the agitation is justified.
The agitation is justified. One, that would be 2. The Northwest, right? And whether we like it or not, the issue of Southeast must be treated
carefully.
Must be courteous. Must be very careful in handling the issue of the Southeast. Well, some people said that when they're looking at the personalities, they were looking at APC member that could fit into the Senate presidency. And even somebody said yesterday that even if they asked the people of the Southeast, the people that would they support, I think our man, I do understand, for the Senate presidency, that he may not get even nods from the people of that area.
I'm going to have to chip in this quickly. In the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of people that had called on the show from the same region saying they don't even want the person to represent them as the Senate president.
So now this is a man, sorry to say, some people are saying still having an issue with the EFCC.
Yes.
You know, because when the EFCC let him off hook, but the case was dismissed.
There was an order for a retrial. It was on a technical ground. Because the matter does not have the jurisdiction to it. It wasn't like you.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So that's why even Kalu has not got that even home support, right, from his people. So how will we now zone it? And how many did we have in APC that from that region? So, but nonetheless, the Tinubu must be careful in other appointment, and to make sure they understand that zone is looked into, understand, and given, I think what is they must be given sense of belonging. Understand? Not only in appointment, in contract, there should be enough contract to that zone for people to really know that they were not completely, because there are two things, you can the appointments for the elites, right? But the people
can feel the contract.
Kind of feel the contract. One of what are the major, like whether we like it or not, this second Niger bridge done by Buhari
is a big deal.
It's a big deal. No, there's no doubt about that. I think the last time I traveled to East, we spent almost 4 or 5 hours
on the bridge,
and that's why I think for the past 6 years I don't travel to nature or wherever. Once I cannot fly and forget the trip. Right? No, because on nature before it's about 6 hours to Lagos with this Benin bypass and Kala fame, but because of what to go through, the bridge again, that once I cannot afford my ticket, I forget it.
And now the bridge is operational.
Yes, but the truth is that those area northeast should be given preference. I think in contract, I think in elevating or reducing the suffering of the masses from that zone.
Okay, thank you very much. We just have to quickly get into that conversation in respect to the leadership of the 10th Assembly. By the way, the inauguration will come up on the 13th of June. That's about 2 weeks after the president, get inaugurated on the 29th of May. Yes, so we keep you abreast of that. By the way, in case you're just tuning in, this is the Situation Room live on Milan 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. And then if you want to watch us live, we're streaming on all our social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just search for Milan 98.3 on YouTube and Milan 98.3 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Then you watch what we're doing live in the studio. I have Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi with me, the group head of political desk for Guardian newspaper, and we've looked at a lot of things. So it's time for you to join the conversation. 0913-600-0410 or 0913-600-0430. 30 for the messages, 10 for the calls. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
I greet our guest in the studio as well. My name remains Drojayo Motosho.
Can you speak up a little bit?
I said my name remains Drojayo Motosho.
You're welcome.
I can't be louder than this.
Okay.
Okay. Let me quickly touch on what our analysis has said so far. Let me begin from the start. I don't think it has ever happened in this country where every other region pulls their eye for one particular region to be speaking to one position or the other. I remember vividly under Jonathan, the number 1 10 key position in the country there is nobody from the Southwest there. You can check that. We didn't cause any problem. Our leader, we strategized. We aligned with people from the north. He knows he can't do it alone. So if the South want anything, they need to align with other regions. We can't fold our hands for them. It's not possible to fold our hands for them. When became the Senate president, Kalu was the first person the party was looking at. It was people from the party that said no, that is not credible, that they don't want him. They now shift elsewhere now, they are not complaining. And as for whether this administration has performed well or not, maybe to some last year they didn't fulfill all their promises. But I know what Northeast was under Jonathan. It was a no-go area. People can go there now. So in terms of security, the president of the nation has done well.
Thank you.
In terms of infrastructure, he won't allow me, but he will give other people 40 minutes. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you very much. I've not even told you to drop yet. I'm just trying to tell you to wrap up your thought, but it's fine. 0913-600-0410. More call. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining us. Your name and where are you calling from?
Chris from Magbo.
You're welcome. 1 minute, please.
Yes, I tell you the truth. I'm not expecting anything from the next administration. The reason is because you cannot keep on doing the same thing and expect a different result. This is the same APC. We know the pedigree of this money that everybody is shouting about. See the humongous amount of money this man spent during the election. We will talk about making money before he thinks about any other person. That's the truth. He's already going abroad now, looking for contract here and there, saying he's going to meet with this president or this president and all of that. Everything is for himself and his friends. That's just the truth. I don't trust anything that comes from APC. They have promised 700 before, just like journalists are saying in the studio. What have we seen? What have they done? All the refineries are saying commercial. They promise they are going to repair the refineries up to now is not working, and we keep getting increase in pump oil prices every time. Price of this has skyrocketed. It will continue to skyrocket because these people don't care about the people. What they care about is themselves and their fight and their cronies. And Nigerians will just brace up for more difficult times ahead. That's not the truth. This man is for himself and his friend.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. Keep it coming in. Please, wise.
Yes, Opeyemi.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute.
I'm expecting a lot for this present government and the incoming government. And you got to deliver by special days of Almighty God. We know as what you before, you done it in Lagos. He will do it again. When you talk of people development, yes, he was there as a governor of Lagos State. He employed from the north, from the south, east, and as a commissioner. All the commissioners upon there, some of them are in further position today. I think I forget Osubajo, can we forget Fasola? There are many. So I'm expecting a lot. And for the National Assembly, yes, I want, as it is, to have the deputy speaker of the House. It's part of the principal of the House. And I just want because I always say I did not vote for senator as a president of the country. I vote for a party, and that party represented by Asiwaju. And the Buhari is not Asiwaju. Asiwaju is not Buhari.
Thank you.
And by the special grace of God, Asiwaju will perform to the yearning of Nigeria.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm actually calling from Bega.
You're welcome.
I'm not expecting anything from this incoming administration because the same people. One, remember the time when we were talking more about state teachers? You see when they said no, it's a lie, it's not going to. But you see at the end they did the same thing.
Okay, I think we're having difficulty. Maybe you can change your position and trying to still call us back. Let me still squeeze in more calls. Hello, good evening, Obi.
Hello, Obi.
1 minute.
Good evening, this will be calling for me.
You're welcome.
There's something that I want to ask Chief Muyiwa. I don't know whether this thing makes economic sense. We selling light to Togo, Benin, and we Nigeria, we don't have light. And they're still owing us on top of that. What is there? I want to know the economic sense of this. I'm an economist, I try to put meaning to it, I cannot. Can somebody please elaborate and expatiate on this? We show light to some people. Is it not when you have excess, they are supposed to serve? We don't have enough. And those people that will show light, they have 24 hours light. What is going on? What is happening in Nigeria? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Obi. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Opeyemi.
You're welcome, Foma.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me just start like this. The East by themselves, they are not the lover of themselves. So that's why they will not be until they come as a body and unite, and things begin in political realm, and things begin to work in order for them, because they work against themselves so much. And up to now, they are still working against that. So that's why they always of Carlo. Even though me, Gongo, I'll be not wishing to become the Senate president, because this whole record for good 8 years as a governor, there's nothing to write about him. So the issue of people saying that what the Tinubu really did in Lagos, we all live in Lagos. Okay, have you been to Alakoko before? I just try to be there once. You will ask us, say, where's the Lagos? Are they proud enough of it? We live in Lagos. My community here, Ikosisheri, most of the road, there's nothing to write. And people will come on there and be saying that what is Asiwaju itself? Is it fixing on people that we have authority over?
Thank you, Foma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, unfortunately, we're really pressed Right. Okay, I wanted to pick that call, but I couldn't. Now let's get back into it. Mr. Muyiwa, we have just a minute to wrap up the conversation today. You've heard quite a lot of things that the people have said. Unfortunately, it seems there's a huge level of distrust between the government and the governed, and you've established that fact also. How much do you think prioritizing reconciliation is for the incoming administration right now? Just a minute, we'll wrap it up.
I think reconciliation is one of those things that I think Tinubu should quickly look into. But you know what, reconciling with the political elites is on the one hand, it's another thing entirely. But what actually is going to give Nigerians the kind of a trust, as the kind of a, let's say, to ready to work with him, is the sincerity of ameliorating some of the challenges we have enumerated earlier. Right. So if you see the seriousness in government of solving practical solution to the problems, Nigeria will begin to trust him. Because if people begin to if people are not trusting their government, that government is in problem because it's ruling on the consent of the people, right? But his performance, you understand, his performance, and will harm him that kind of confidence among Nigerians. And let me quickly tell you now about our people. Some people were saying that maybe Nigeria is selling power to
other countries.
No, it's not they are selling. It's kind of an agreement under ECOWAS. Because those people, those rivers in Niger, Togo, and the Republic, some of the waters with that year
are channeled there.
They came from those areas. And those people also wanted to, once they dam the river in those places, right, your kanji is over. Do you understand? Once they dam it over there, because the water flows from those areas to our end to make this kanji. But if Benin should have to dam his own, if Togo should have to dam his own, the J, I was in a place in Zamfara where the Nigeria force and entered the country, right? So I'm saying that once they also wanted electricity. They want to use hydro.
Well, it means they have to dam their own. And it should affect
once they dam their own, your kanji is over. Do you understand? So that's why agreement was certain percentage. I think it's also under NDPHC. Do you understand? So that was the agreement that we give you certain megawatts. Once we get from this, we'll be able to dam your home. That was what happened.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, for spending quality time with us today. Next week, Thursday, God willing, we'll finish this conversation as we build up to the swearing. Well, thank you once again for everyone that tuned in today. Thank you, Michael, for being on hand to support this production. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM, and this is the Situation Room. God willing, tomorrow is Friday's open mic. We'll be back here to take some of your concerns, some of the questions, and then we'll set it going. My name is Opeyemi Akinyode. Stay out of trouble. Bye for now.